Hi, this is an introduction to Photoshop Elements version 10. The first thing I want to say is that there is quite a bit of information in this tutorial, especially if you're fairly new to Elements. You don't need to memorize it all now. I just want to give you an overview of how Elements is put together. Watch it through, and I would suggest print out the PDF document so you can refer back to the details as and when you want to. Okay, now Elements is sometimes called the little brother or cut down version of the full Photoshop. This is a bit misleading as it's a powerful image editing program in its own right. I've been using it for a number of years now and I'm still coming across things I've not used before. When you first open Elements, you get what's called the welcoming screen. This gives you the option of loading either the organizer or the editor. Elements is made up of two separate but interlinked programs, the organizer and the editor. The organizer is where you can catalogue and tag your images, but we're going to start by looking around the editor where all the creative stuff goes on. I almost invariably want to load the editor first, so the welcome screen gets a bit annoying. You can bypass it by clicking on the settings link on the top right hand corner and clicking on editor. Click on OK. Then the next time you open Elements, you'll go straight into the editor, bypassing the welcome screen. Elements functions are split into three groups, which are on tabs at the top right hand corner of the screen. Share gives you options for sharing your images with others via email, Facebook and so on. These options are actually part of the organizer, so if you select, say, email attachments, the organizer will start and you'll carry on from there. We'll look at a couple of these in a later tutorial. Create gives you templates for creating things like greetings cards, calendars and so on. Edit gives you access to the editing functions of Elements. This is where you'll spend the vast majority of your time. Edit itself is divided into three modes: quick, guided and full. Bearing in mind that Elements is used by many people purely for improving their digital photographs, the quick mode contains the automated versions for correcting colour balance or sharpening photographs. You just tell Elements what you want to do and it makes its best guesses. You have no control over the details. Guided mode is more like a Windows wizard. If you install a printer, for instance, you're guided through the process step by step. You have to fill in information or make decisions as you go along. The guided mode is like this. In full mode, you have full control. You make the decisions and tell Elements how you want to do things. As this is a creative computing course, we'll be using full mode right from the start. Occasionally I'll point out quick fixes that I think are worth exploring, but you don't need to leave full mode to access them, as they are also available from the menus. On the left of the screen is the toolbar. Holding your mouse cursor over each tool will reveal a description of what it is and the associated keyboard shortcut. For instance, the T icon represents the text tool and the keyboard shortcut is also a T. If the tool has a little black triangle in the bottom right hand corner of the icon, then there are other tools hidden beneath it. Holding your left-hand mouse button down while the cursor is over the tool will reveal a drop-down list showing the hidden tools. In this case, the horizontal type tool, the vertical type tool, the text on selection tool, and so on. Click on the one you want to use and it will come forward to the toolbar ready to use. Alternatively, if you use the tool keyboard shortcut, you can use that to select hidden tools. So, the shortcut for the text tool is T. If you press the T on your keyboard once, you'll select the default horizontal text tool. If you carry on pressing the T, you'll cycle through horizontal text, vertical text, and so on. Remember that you always have a tool selected, only one at a time. You don't deselect a tool, you simply select a new one. Just below the menus is the options bar. Each tool has options associated with it, so if the text tool is selected, then options associated with text such as font size, font style and font colour are shown for you to select. If you change the tool, then the options change to things that are relevant to the new tool you've selected. If I change to the crop tool, then we get options like aspect ratio, height and width. So the options are specific to the tool. On the right hand side of the screen is the panel bin. In older copies of Elements, panels are called palettes, and the panel bin is called the palette bin. A panel is a way to group things that you would probably use together in one place. You'll see how these work as we use them. You can decide which panels are shown in the bin. I usually work with the Layers and Undo History panels showing, as I use them a lot. When Elements is first installed, the default panels are the Effects and Content group and Layers. To customise the panels to how I like them, I need to remove the Effects and Content panel and add in the Undo History one. To remove a panel from the bin, simply drag it out by its top bar and close it by clicking on the cross. To add a new panel to the bar, go to the Window menu and click on the one you want to add. It will then appear in the panel bar. So I'm going to select Undo History. Next, I want to talk a bit about undoing things. With the best will in the world, we all make mistakes or simply change our mind. If you just want to undo the last thing you did, then hold the Control key down and press the Z key on your keyboard. The Redo shortcut is Control and Y. So, say I decided I wanted to put some text on this image. I then decide, no, I don't like that. I want to undo it. So I hold the Control key down and press Z. If I want to redo it, in other words bring it back, I hold the Control key down and press Y. So Control Z to undo, Control Y to redo. Simple as that. Much better though is the Undo History. This will become your friend. Each time you do something to an image, then an entry is made in the Undo History. To save a bit of time, I've opened this image of dandelions and I've done various things. I've cropped it, I've changed the colour of the flowers, I've rotated it, and I've added some text. Say you decided you wanted to go back to how the image looked after you'd cropped it, then you click on the crop entry in the Undo History. The entries below it are then greyed out. At this stage you can redo any number of steps by clicking on the relevant entry. However, as soon as you carry out a new step, anything below it in the Undo History is lost. So if I go to the crop entry and then add some text to the image, then you'll see that all the entries below it are deleted. The remaining area to look at is the project bin at the bottom of the screen. This shows all the images you have open at any given time. Double-clicking on an image in the project bin will bring it up to the main working area, ready to be edited. You'll soon realise that all these bars and bins take up quite a lot of space on your screen. You can hide them, except for the menus, by pressing the Tab key on your keyboard. Press Tab again to bring them back. You can minimise the project bin individually by double-clicking on the black bar at the top of the bin. Double-clicking again on it brings it back. In older versions of Elements, there was a small triangle on the top bar of the project bin that you clicked once to hide or bring back the bin. As for the images themselves, there are two ways you can display them. You can either have your images on tabs, just below the options bar, or in floating windows. But in order to have floating windows, you need to change one of the element's preferences. Go to Edit, Preferences, General, and click where it says Allow floating documents in full edit mode. Just click on the box and click OK. If you want to take an image off a tab and float it, then just drag the Images tab with your mouse. As you can see, you can then move it around. You can resize it by pulling the borders, and so on. If I take the other image that I've got off its tab as well, you can see how it can be useful to be able to put images side by side and view them. If you want to put a floating image on a tab, click and drag with your mouse and move the image slowly upwards until it goes very pale and you can see a blue border around the edge of the working area. Release your mouse. It's now on a tab showing the image name, the percentage of zoom, and a little cross. If you want to close the image, you just click on the cross. I'll just do the same thing with this other image. Move it upwards slowly until it goes pale with a blue border and release the mouse. You now have both images back on the back on tabs. Lastly, I just want to mention the various ways you can get help. However well you know a program, there's always the possibility of forgetting how to do something, or of wanting to do something you've not done before. I've included a couple of suggestions in the PDF document that accompanies this tutorial, but for now I just want to have a look at the help that comes with Elements. If you press the F1 key at the top left of your keyboard while you are in Elements, then that will take you to the online help, which looks like this. On the left is an index which will lead you to some useful, usually well-written information. Just click on the plus signs to the left of the headings to reveal subheadings and so on. So if I want to find out how to use the magic wand, I click on selecting parts of the image, making selections, and then use the magic wand tool. You can also type keywords into the search box at the top left of the screen, then click on the magnifying glass to search for information on your chosen subject. I have to say I find this method less than useful. Annoyingly, to me anyway, the Elements help is online, so if your broadband is slow or occasionally non-existent, you can't access the help. You can, however, download a PDF version of the online help, which you can save to your local hard disk or print out if you wish. If you want to do this, look at the top right-hand corner of the help screen. You'll see View Help PDF. This brings up the PDF version, which you can then save to your own hard disk or print. Then if your internet connection does go down, you still have access to Elements help. So, that's our introductory tour around Elements. The next tutorial will cover the basics of image manipulation.